The first thing you should know about my friend Mrs. Filholm is that she sends me video of her performances. Like all things Mrs. Filholm sends, the context is limited. There's no hint of what kind of content may be in store, or even a request for feedback. Mrs. Filholm just shoots the video over and leaves it at that. The next thing you should know is that I've been burned by clicking Mrs. Filholm's videos before. 1 second I'm floating through life happy and healthy. The next, I'm doubled over in pain, retching and heaving, as if to purge myself of the memory and mental pictures that Mrs. Filholm paints in her comedy set. Naturally, I'm leery of any video she sends me, but somehow the most recent one got through my filters, and it was great.
The first thing you should know about my friend Andrew is that he's pretty uncomfortable with human emotions. When things get too deep, he tends to back away, wash his hands, give a tip of his hat to the whole situation, and carry on his merry way. The next thing you should know about Andrew is that when it counts, when people he loves suffer a tempest of complicated, downright primitive emotions, he's a shelter from the storm. He steps in when he needs to, even when it scares him or makes him profoundly uncomfortable. He holds a hand, lends a shoulder, bends an ear, sheds a tear, shares some space. You know the expression man up? This is it. Andrew mans up. He is a rare friend, brother, son, and grandson, and he's going to make a most excellent husband. Mazel tov, Delaney and Andrew.
Welcome to Half My Age, a weekly show in which a 25-year-old adult and a 50-year-old child help each other make sense of the world. Aw, Mrs. Filholm.
Yeah, well, I saw what you did there. Hold on, I think I gotta adjust my mic. Hold on. Oh my God.
What's going on over there?
I'm raising my mic stand. The stand that my mic is in, which is very industrial, and it was a little low.
Video killed the radio star, but I have to say it is so much more fun hearing the noises and guessing what's going on
I suppose,
than actually being able to see.
Yeah. Well, I was just moving my microphone. Okay, let's get back to your open first.
Sure.
I just think it's very funny that you still are surprised to the point that you comment on it a lot, that I send things without context. Do I need to start sending a précis with everything that I send to you so that you know what you're receiving, why, and what follow-up I expect?
Regarding your videos, what I want is a black and white label on it that says either explicit or radio clean.
All right. That's fine.
Granted, I work at home and I don't have to worry about opening something on my computer that my coworkers can see over my shoulder because Whisker's DGAF. He just doesn't even care. But it's alarming. There's nothing quite like waking up at 6:30 in the morning to a video that your former English teacher sent at 1 a.m. Of her talking about fellatio. It's an interesting start to a day, I would say.
Okay, all right. I mean, okay, that's fair. That's the thing. But you complain a lot that I don't give you context. Here's the thing. I'm sending you stuff for you to watch at your discretion, generally to talk about on this show. Giving you stuff for follow-up or input or whatever. And it always seems so damn confusing to you. This wasn't confusing. You're saying this is a case of you just don't want the explicit content. And this was my set from last week at Comedy Works. And I told you I was going to be more clean. It's not super clean.
This is the one you invited our listeners to, right?
Yes, it is.
It was remarkably good. I will say I was laughing with the audience the whole way through. I don't know what's going on with the video editing. There seem to be like some fades and some weird stuff. And the set's so short anyways, I don't know why they'd bother making cuts at all. What did they cut out?
I did that.
Oh, you did that. What did you cut out?
I cut out the joke that didn't land, which we discussed last week, because I wanted this to be a submission.
I'm seeing your greatest hits album.
To things. Absolutely. And then I just cut out like a little dip in the, just like a weird little dip in the laughter. So I did that. Is it too janky to watch? I did it real fast.
No, it made me wonder, because I know that this set's only supposed to be, what was it, 3 minutes or something?
Yep.
And I was like, well, what am I not seeing here? What's missing?
I did cut out the part of the handbag joke that didn't land, because now it is closer to 3 minutes, because that's exactly right. If I ever want to use it for submission to something, I need it to be a tighter 3 than a longer 3. Hold on, I'm going to move this now. Having some technical issues today. Not really. I just moved my microphone. Okay. Yeah. So I was trying to get it closer to 3 minutes, and I cut out the joke that didn't land as well. It wasn't terrible, but there's no point to it. And yeah, I'm just if I have that out there somewhere, and I made actually different versions of it. I made a very quick little version that is totally clean, that is now on my website. I think I've got it on the Mama Bear and the Lisa Lane website, lisalanefilholm.com. Totally clean. Like, I don't even say a bad word. The one I sent you,
You
I
talked
think I
about
say
legs
bad
being
words.
open, which seemed a little
Okay,
racy.
so you saw that one. Yeah, And I think that's even the one where I say I know I look more put together than the rest of you motherfuckers here tonight.
Yep.
So that's like not, it's not clean. I can't do exactly that for the clean competition. Although the legs joke, I now think I probably could clean up or put it. I now have an idea where I could probably put that into the clean. The idea, for dear listeners, is that you're worried about your daughter or your teenager. What could be open this hour of night when your kid is missing? Legs could be open. That's the great parental fear. Anyway, so yeah, it was that's where the show that I'm developing is going, called Teenagers Suck, a comedy show for parents at a bar. So there you have it. That's some of the material from that upcoming show.
I think that's great.
Thanks. Thanks for saying it was good, Andrew. You don't
welcome.
like it when I say dirty comedy.
I do not even a little.
Not even a little. And that show that I'm talking about, I think I'm going to have one in Denver probably in the meantime, but also it's in Seattle. So I don't know what to talk about coronavirus, but everybody is.
Yeah, it seems that everybody is. Yesterday I went to a restaurant with my brother. We sat at the bar, and there was we were deep in conversation about coronavirus because we had just come from a sporting event at the local university. And while I was sitting working the scoreboard in the press box, the guy next to me, who's kind of in charge of marketing, he was reading off the Twitter headlines. NCAA cancels the in this March Madness stuff. They're not going to allow fans. It's just going to be players, coaches, and then essential staff and a small group of friends and family. Meanwhile, the university, they've got a big study abroad program. And I believe they canceled it for the coming year, or they're bringing kids home early, or something going on with study abroad not happening this year.
Well, they can't bring them home right now because we're closed to Europe.
Right.
I'm not kidding.
I know.
That's bananas.
It is bananas.
And then the NBA is suspended their season.
Yep, I saw that.
That's the basketballers.
I saw
that. Okay, I am not prone to freak out about things, Andrew. So
are you freaked out?
No. I can't make myself be, and I think I might be the dupe. I think I might be the idiot. One of our podcast boys was talking about, maybe it was somebody else, talking about, like, I will not be the guy who freaks out and goes out and buys water. Did you hear this?
I sure
did. Who was saying it? Yeah,
and it's Dan Benjamin.
Right, and going, we're not going to run out of water. Why the water? And then saying, I'm not going to freak out and go buy toilet paper. And then you wait, and then you need toilet paper, and you can't get it. I mean, toilet paper is a moot point to me because I have my awesome bidet. But no, I mean, I did try to go get hand sanitizer because, for a joke, last Friday at my show where I host a little comedy program, I thought it would be quite funny to give out as raffle prizes little individual things of hand sanitizer.
You're giving out raffle prizes worth thousands of dollars.
That's what it turned out. Right. And I walked into Walgreens and I didn't see any where I thought it would be on the shelves. And I go, oh, I'll bet they're out of it. Well, this is how out of the news cycle I was at the moment. Like, I didn't know that they were worth, or that, people were price gouging and stuff. So I have come up to date on the news since then because I realized I was really out of it. I have been trying to listen to measured and both-sided information and input into my ears of news on the coronavirus. Or, I don't know. What are you bunkering?
No, I'm not bunkering. And I've actually, I've got a hot take on it if you want to hear it.
I do, because I of course, am just going, well, I don't have a hot take on it. I don't think I'm still intending to tomorrow night go out and lick a microphone that I share with a whole bunch of other strangers, you know?
Ugh.
I know, and drink beer at a bar, which if you think about it, tonight I'm intending to go to the Pio and drink beer at the bar with Dave Bull. So, like, those glasses don't get even washed in hot enough water. Do you know what I mean? I mean, at any bar, like the way to get a cold. Okay, let me hear your hot take.
So this virus, near as I can tell, is the same as any other sickness, right? The people who are most in danger are the elderly and the immunocompromised. There's nothing new here. The difference is this thing spreads and it spreads quickly. So the reason we're so concerned about travel and we're so concerned about hand washing isn't so much that if you, Lisa Filholm, gets the coronavirus that it's going to be fatal, so much as it is that you can take this and you can give it to 12 other people, one or two of which it may be a much bigger deal to than it is to you.
Right.
So we're intentionally trying to limit travel because if you go on a plane, you may get coronavirus, you may not, whatever. That's not the point. The point is that you're exposing people of two different populations, so that if one population had it, there's a greater chance of it spreading to an entirely different population. So this is all the effect. I mean, granted, the people who have already died from this won't be pleased to hear it from heaven. But the effect of this virus isn't so much we're concerned about the fatality as it is the quickness and ease of spreading,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
So the people who are buying toilet paper, the people who are stocking up on water, they've got a fear instinct that's kicking in, and they've just got to do something about it. Whether that's the right thing or the wrong thing, the important thing, as we talked about last week, is the movement of it all and feeling like you're doing something, like you're taking
Right.
precautions.
That's your hot take?
That's my hot take.
Well, I know that. Okay, then, I mean, it's not that hot. Am I on? Yeah, you can hear me. I just don't well, that's right. That's my point is that we're worried about we're spinning out because of fear. The fear is I mean, yes, some people will die from this sickness like some people die from the flu every year. Yep. The quick I mean, everything said. Yep, 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 yep. And I know it's that it's people's reaction like we want to do something. What I can't tell is how is it gonna affect my life, and at what point am I going to be okay, one of the reasons, I guess, that I realize people are stocking up on toilet paper, right, is they are afraid we are going to become housebound quarantined.
Hmm.
If that happened to me, it wouldn't be great. You know, I don't have a stockpile of anything here at the dollhouse. You know, I don't have
You'd
even
be
like
eating clay.
I guess, yeah, beaten dirt. I mean, I guess even, like as a mother of a family, we always had more, like in the larder, and I had storage space. And honestly, I live alone. I don't eat that much food at my house. So I don't have stockpiles of non-perishable food and water in such case. And, I mean, then it makes me think, well, that's probably a good thing to have in the crawl space is a few jugs of water, just in case of apocalypse, I guess.
Just
Or,
in case of like
listen,
a an earthquake or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
The point that our podcast buddy was making is that what in the world could possibly happen where the water supply is shut off?
Nothing
This
from the
illness is not an
flu.
earthquake. It's not breaking pipes.
Exactly right, yeah, and listen, I've lived through Mount St. Helens erupting, and, I mean, we were without water, so I understand being prepared for just things in general, so I guess it makes me think that, like, "Huh, okay, well, I'm not super prepared." I cannot imagine I mean, I was saying this morning even to a friend, like, there's no way that we're getting put on house quarantine, and I still can't imagine. But I'm a little bit surprised by all the things that are being canceled and by, like, basketball season being suspended.
Right. It is
Half of
pretty
what we
amazing.
hear yeah, and half of what I hear about this virus is the economic effects. Like, my finance guy reached out to him about something, and he's kinda, like, buried, you know,
Oh,
watching
sure.
this volatile market, like, can't talk now. And I
Right.
go, "So then why" it's this I think it's a fear response. I think we all kind of know it's a fear response. Half of the things that I see about it, like, are memes or people being trying to be helpful, going, "You guys, it's kind of a fear response. Can we remember back to how we survived this and this and that?" But then the WHO just came out. Okay, I have too much information. The WHO just came out today, I think, saying, or yesterday saying, nope, South Korea or wherever, and China maybe, nope, they've done it. They've stopped it. The virus has stopped spreading. So bully to them. But I mean, we don't have the infrastructure to do what they did. The WHO is praising their aggressive approach to it, but we can't do
They
that.
they have an effective dictatorship
Yeah. Well,
that can require people to be at home.
right. And that's what I was just saying is like, there's no way we can do it in this country. And I went, well, I'm not going to say there's no way things can happen in this country anymore because certain things have surprised me, in recent years. So I don't know. I don't know. And really, I don't think there's anything really more to say about it because everybody's talking about it. But it does occur to me, right? Like, I'm flying to Seattle in April for these shows. I do. I mean, I have been washing my hands more. I always try to during cold and flu season anyway. I have been washing my hands to the point that they're so beat up. I had 2 professional manicures in 1 week last week, Andrew, because they're so beat up, like cuticle bad, bad, bad. And when I went for the first one because of the job interview, I just had to make them look presentable, and I just realized they can cut away all this dry stuff, and oh man, um, because I'm washing my hands so much. So I'm being diligent about that and all of that. And then I go, I lick a microphone. I mean, I don't
That's so
mean
gross.
to. It's so gross, but it's like I even have been joking about it during cold and flu season in the earlier days of coronavirus when I guess it seemed funnier. I would mention it like we're all up here just sucking on the same microphone. It's like the Eucharist here. It doesn't count. We trust that we're not going to get sick. I mean, I really do that. And I'm intending to do it tomorrow night and Saturday night. I have a show in Boulder. I guess that's my only thought is like, well, gosh, am I not going to get to go tell my jokes? But no, more importantly, is anybody else going to be there? Because that's where it matters is the audience.
So I woke up and after I saw the link to your video, I also like Instagram is my next stop after that, and I
All
went
right.
through all the stories, and it seems like people are still going to Avalanche games. They're
All
still
right.
doing all this stuff. So there's definitely a disconnect between what we see in the news, especially what we see in the financial news, what we're hearing from groups like the NCAA canceling all of their events and colleges being, super proactive. Our former high school, by the way, they're out of school for 2 weeks. Did you see that?
Nope. That's what I'm wondering. No, and that's my point is I need someone to give but could you be one of those people if something like if there's a press release for the whole country and I need to know something, someone's going to have to tell me because where I get my news is not super reliable or consistent. So, okay, our Farmore High School, what about the university? Are they open?
They are open as far as I know.
But
They
some
were open
aren't.
yesterday.
Okay, yeah, right, right. I know. On the other hand, like Coachella, South by Southwest, canceled. Like that's bananas. Meanwhile, our boy John Roderick's on a cruise. The one place that maybe I would go, all right, that is just tempting fate, right? A cruise ship.
Mhm.
But he had to wash your hands a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, the one thing I would say about this is just reminding people that you don't get flu shots because the flu is terrible. You get flu shots because if you give the flu to your grandmother, she'll die, right? So it's important that we do take proper steps to wash our hands and to be good stewards because it's not for us, it's for other people.
That's the thing. Okay, I talked to an old friend yesterday, and he is 60 years old now, and he said he has a compromised immune system for real. Like he's got some thing. And he's like, so we were supposed to be for coffee. And he said, I actually right now can't, I can meet for a walk in the park, but I can't be in enclosed spaces. I can't eat food prepared by others. It's stuff like that. And it's always stuff like that. I remember one time, I swear, I mean, years and years ago, I was getting sushi at a sushi restaurant to take home to the family. And I was watching the guy make it at the sushi bar, how you do. And he sneezed. And I just remember being so grossed out. And it felt like he had just sneezed all over my food. And then like, within 5 days, I had a terrible cold, and I always blamed it on that sushi guy sneezing on my food.
It probably was.
Right? Oh, okay. So you're right. It's just like be a good citizen, wash your hands. Yeah, don't, I don't know. Okay. So I don't know. It's funny to me that I try really hard not to think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It does not occupy much of my daily thoughts, but boy, you can't avoid it when you go out because there's not like scary shortages on grocery store shelves.
Right. I Granted, things aren't that bad right now. Most of the issues right now are fear of future issues. We're not
Yeah.
seeing a lot of big stuff going on, and I must say I'm actually quite entertained. Is in terms of news cycles, I much prefer watching this virus spread to politics or to local news about break-ins and murders. This is I'm sure many case studies will be written, but this to me is very interesting. It's fun to follow. It's interesting to see how people react and what they think.
Okay. The way you just said that was horrible, but I know what you mean because first of all, I also think like the biology of it is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
There's a podcast called This Podcast Will Kill You, and it's those they're like friends. It's the same company, network as My Favorite Murder. And so they go through the biological and sort of social aspects of pandemics. I mean, throughout the history of the world, like how different diseases work. So I listened to that yesterday, and it was kind of a nice break from the true crime. So I know what you mean. And then as a news story, right? As an amusing ourselves to death kind of hype story, it's fascinating.
Right. This may
Yeah.
not be um this may not be one of the major things on history. Like my grandchildren probably aren't going to ask me if I lived through
Right?
COVID-19. But it is kind of it's a change. It's different, and it could be right. It could be something that we look back on. Oh, what happened? Maybe this era is not remembered because of all the people that died. Maybe this era is known as the great toilet paper shortage of the 2020s. You
Yeah,
know,
right. Who knows, right? Or the moment in time when Americans realize we've got to get bidets.
maybe.
That could be the thing. I did everybody's writing jokes about the coronavirus, of course. Other than talking about how we share the microphone like a Eucharist, I did tell another joke. I did tell a joke about it.
Are you gonna tell
So
us, Mrs. Filholm?
yeah, I'm gonna share it with you because I know how you love when I share my jokes on the air, and you'll like it because it's clean. So at the beginning, it's the setup of the set I just sent you that says, "I know I look like I'm here to speak to the manager," um, and several things like that. And one thing, and then I just say, "But you got to admit, I look like I've been packing hand sanitizer in my bag for 22 years," and that's pretty. And then I say, "And that is accurate. You know, like that's right. I'm a."
It's gonna make you a
Purell
target.
carrot. Well, then that's the thing, and there's gotta be a tag, a punchline to it. Like, one time I just tried it, I might try it tomorrow, like, "How do you like me now?" You know, or like, "Everybody's best friend now," or right, "It raises my value." I'm not sure what place to take it.
You're gonna have to start packing heat.
Yeah,
People are
right.
people are gonna be harassing you, not
Yeah,
not for not grabbing your ass. They want your hand sanitizer, and they
yeah.
may they may be violent.
So that could be the way the joke goes, is that I look like I'm packing hand sanitizer, and I am, which now
And
puts
also a
me at
taser.
such a risk, I have to pack heat, yeah. All right. Well, thanks for the joke writing session, Andrew. That was great. I had some follow up, but mm, my body today hurts in kind of a good way. Like I'm achy and tired because it was like really warm outside. I don't know how
It's
warm it
been
was,
so
but it was
nice. The weather's been
so
great, and
nice.
that puts me in
Oh,
such a good mood.
I know, me too. And I'm realizing that someday, inshallah, soon I will have a day job back in an office. And so I won't be able to do things like all of my yard work. And now that it's warm, I can. I turned over a 12 by 12 plot of land in my backyard, plot of dirt, shovel deep, so foot and a half, 2 feet, foot and a half deep. Turned over that yesterday all by myself with a
For what
shovel.
purpose? To what end?
I'm gonna put in a paved patio there.
Oh, that sounds nice.
In fact, what I'm putting in, my dream, my goal, my intent is I'm gonna put in a labyrinth So
Mm-hmm.
it's only 12 by 12, which is about as small as you can do it and get away with it. But I've been looking it up a lot, and I have my design drawn, and I know what materials I need, and I'm making a choice to use smaller sort of bricks, pavers, because honestly, I think I can do the whole thing by myself if I have to. I don't expect that I'll have to. I'm sure I'll have some help along the way, but I don't get as much help as I need. It's hard to find good help. So I always think I can do things by myself.
Well, you've
And
you've talked. You mentioned many times that Rafiki is no stranger to loading stone on a hand
mhm,
truck and moving
mhm.
it around. So maybe your neighbor, your elderly neighbor, who's probably at risk for contracting
Coronavirus,
COVID-19
who volunteers at a hospital every single day of her life, by the way, and as far as I can tell, she's still going there. She's definitely 80 years old and a risk, and kind of probably the person who should be staying home. Hell no, she's not staying home. She greets every single person who walks through the doors at Children's Hospital every day.
with a big kiss on the mouth.
Probably. No, she did. I was just about to say, that's funny you brought her up. First of all, her wheelbarrow is the one I will be using to remove the dirt. Here's my big dilemma. I don't know what the hell to do with all the dirt. This would be more further along if I had a good plan for what to do when I remove that much cubic square footage of dirt. I don't know what to do with it.
How much are
Rafiki
you
says
taking out?
12 by 12 by probably a foot,
You're
plus
gonna
then a
you're
big
gonna
pile.
dig this thing down a foot.
I've already done it.
It's gonna turn into a pond, not a
No,
labyrinth.
because then I'm gonna fill it with no, Andrew, not quite a foot. I'm just saying generally that's probably what it's gonna look like, how much dirt I'm taking out. Because there's some other stuff. I also have to dig a French drain for my gutter problems. No, you have to dig it down because then you have to fill it with sand and then the bricks. So it's gonna be level with the ground. Perhaps even a bit raised, perhaps a bit sunken. I haven't decided. I would rather raise it than sink it for reasons. I spent a lot of time looking at this design. But anyway, I think I could do it by myself. My point is Rafiki next door. I was looking at some places that she has pavers laid in her backyard. And she said, yeah, of course I did that myself. Of course you could do it yourself, Lisa. Yeah, easy peasy. Yeah, of course. But I can use her wheelbarrow, and I've got to. So her plan for the dirt is that I just pile it up behind my garage. And I went, yeah, yeah, because it's clay, it's crap. It's crap dirt, Andrew. I mean, it's garbage dirt. You don't want to put it in your garden. Isn't that weird?
You
It's
know what you need
really
to do?
crap. No, I
I've done
don't.
some research on this.
You have?
Yeah, and the
Great.
best way to get rid of excess dirt is to carry it out to the yard in your pocket and then shake it out when the warden's not looking.
Exactly what that feels like. And that's kind of that's funny. And that's kind of what Rafiki was suggesting in a way, which is just, and I was like, it's going to make a berm next to my garage, and I don't need any problems with drainage or anything surrounding that garage. I got, okay. She goes, just put it across the alley. There's nobody, nobody lives behind you now. And it's true that place is vacant. She's like, just put it there, put it in little piles, and then the rain will just sift it out eventually. I mean, she's kind of suggesting doing that. Just like take wheelbarrows and dump it here and there. I mean, in my mind, it's going to be like a small pickup's worth of dirt.
Yeah, I don't think you're gonna have that much dirt, but
You
maybe.
can't believe it. I'm digging a French drain. I mean, I have dug a hole, a trench more than 2 feet deep for a different, I mean, that's not the paving situation. I am removing a lot of dirt from this backyard. The other thought that I had is that it's very much like clay. The dirt in Denver, I
You
I
might
mean,
turn
you
it
you
into
can
beautiful pottery.
yeah, you can pack it into a ball for sure, like clay. I always say you could make a pinch pot out of this. You can't really, but I thought, what if I just made like dirt balls, which would be somehow this is more pleasing to me. Balls of dirt, like snowballs, but they're dirt balls. And then if I go and leave those around town or in the alley or sitting like, maybe they're sitting like cairns in a corner, and then then the wind and rain washes them away. Do you hear what I mean, like, it's crazy. That's what I'm lying in bed thinking at night. It's like, maybe I'll
The
pack it
problem is
all up
that
into balls. What?
I don't hear that as crazy. I hear that as fun, and I want to build on it. I watched a video. It was a tour of a brick factory. You should. I mean, you have a kiln. You've got clay like stuff. You should make structural components out of it, and you should build a little something with the brick.
I mean, I guess I could try it. I do not trust that it
For
is
science. For
I
science,
know, for
Filholm.
science. I know, right? What temperature would that stuff fire at? I have a feeling that we call it clay, but if you fired it beyond 500 degrees, like beyond what your oven could do, I don't
Do you
think
think
it's
it'd
ever
burn?
gonna be no, I think it, yeah, maybe turn to dust, certainly never become, um, non-porous.
Well, what I mean, structural brick, it's porous, isn't it?
Okay, I don't mean that. I mean, I don't think it would ever become structurally sound, this clay. I don't think it has I think that it
You
would
don't
not be
think it's
weight
got the
bearing.
integrity?
I don't think it has the integrity and uh, what would be the element in the clay that makes it sticky, stick together. I don't think it would ever be weight bearing. I think this clay, if you baked it even to the optimal temperature, you'd never get it so that water wouldn't make it dissolve,
Mhm. Hey,
right?
but before I forget,
Yeah,
one thing you might wanna look
fascinating.
into, concerning your drainage problems, since you're already digging a massive dirt patch anyway, you might look into installing a dry well, which is basically a 55-gallon bucket with holes in the side and a spout that goes from your downspout into this bucket, and it's surrounded on all sides by, loose rock. They install these all the time on this old house for people that have drainage issues. And the idea is if you get, some kind of big rain, this gets the water far enough away from your house and gives it a place to go where it can slowly leach into the ground, um, and it won't pool up.
I don't know what a dry I have not heard I'm looking it up right now. I have not heard the term dry well, but yeah, I think huh. Now,
It's like one step
wow.
beyond a French drain. So a French drain
It sure
is
is. I see it now. Are you kidding me? That may very well be what we're looking at. We'll see. So far, the flooding in my yard has not been problematic. Wow. Good God, that just seems so involved, Andrew.
Well, so here's the thing. Your French drain is basically to if you've got water on the ground, to move it. So maybe a low point in your yard or something like that. This dry well is going to be to give somewhere for all of the water hitting your house to go. Right. So if your problem is on the ground, then you need a French drain. If your problem is the house, I think you would need a dry well.
Yep. I'm gonna look into it. Hey, you just got real funky in my ears, like you were kind of almost in and out like a bad phone call. Is that gonna be on our recording?
No, you still sound good on my side, and I'm recording my end locally. So,
Okay, great. I this dry well thing, I just uh, okay. All right, I will look at dry wells. I think that I mean the pictures I'm looking here. I shouldn't even talk about it because I haven't. Part of the problem is that the angle at which the gutter should drain away from the house
mhm.
is impossible.
The angle at which the gutter should drain away from the house is
Like
impossible.
because of an addition to the home and because I need that door to open on my west portico, my little back porch, the easy solution I think to the gutter is angle it differently. There's not enough of a pitch. You can't do it. You can't do it. It doesn't matter. I
So
mean, it
if I'm
really doesn't
looking
matter.
at the back of your house from the atelier, you're saying that there's not enough slope from right to left or left to right, in order to get the water where it needs to go.
No, I'm not saying that.
What are you
I'm
saying?
saying from front of lot to back of lot, from east to west, the way that it's partly the
Sure.
slope in the yard. Partially it's the slope in the yard, but even now that have dug a slopey little trench, it's partially, I guess, clay, dirt, because now
Mhm.
it pools up. Now I have like a fish pond whenever it rains or snows. Um,
For the
so it's
koi.
just not draining. I mean, I honestly am like, we should put in a damn water feature. It's just not draining into the ground. If that trench right now were full of gravel, I think it
Mhm.
would appear that it's draining. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
Like it would be saturated, the gravel would be saturated, but it wouldn't be what it is the other night, a giant puddle in the rain. That's
Right.
because that is not a matter anymore of slope. That is a matter of that damn clay dirt is not draining water, and I don't get why. Because on the other side of my house, drains just fine. Drains into the lawn. I'm not sure what's going on there. So that's part of the issue. The other issue is that the issue of it's hard to explain without looking at it. It's boring as fuck.
It's not that
No,
boring. I
it's
love this
pretty
kind of
boring.
stuff. This
Though,
is good problem solving. We have an opportunity to exercise
but
here.
Andrew, you're not looking at it. Okay, and I've thought about it for so long. I've talked about it with so many different guys that I'm not liking it anymore.
Have you
It appear
considered lining your trench that you've already dug with sand and rock? I know you just mentioned it, but have
Yeah,
you?
why would I? Yeah, right. That's step one. That's kind of the French drain approach. Basically, that's good. Not yet, I'm not gonna do that because I have to dig some more, and the handyman told me that the real deep part of it where we put the French drain should be here and not there. So, yeah, yep, we're dealing with that. That's gonna be some kind of a French drain. Maybe it'll be a dry well, just to make sure that the water has someplace to go and doesn't pool up right there, because then when it freezes, it backs up into the gutter. One of the right ways it seems like this could be avoided is to take. Okay, so there's the gutter around the top of the house. Then there's a thing called a downspout, and it often comes off at an elbowed angle, right?
Yep.
Because of where my downspout is, it's never, ever, ever in the sunlight. And that's because it's in a corner of the house. So one way to, and it goes straight down and then almost at a 90-degree angle straight out. So we do not have the pitch there. One way to avoid that, even if it's always in the shade, downspout and then elbow at about, I don't know, 4 feet off the ground. You'd elbow that out and make it at an angle, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it goes down. That's what most people would do. The reason you can't do that right there is because I have a door that opens in the line of where that gutter would be.
So yeah, so you definitely need to dig further, right? So,
I don't know.
since you can't make your pitch above ground, you're going to have to do it below the ground so it can go underneath that door. Um, I'm looking up right now. I'm googling how much to install a dry well, and it says the national average is $2,700. Uh,
Shit.
but I mean, you could do a lot of that yourself, the digging and whatnot. But I wonder, in all of the experts you've consulted, one is your good friend Andrew, who's a noted software developer, not a landscaper.
Mm-hmm.
Another one is a handyman who's a plumber, which is seems like a good thing, but probably willfully ignorant of the workings of landscaping drainage or whatever. All his water's confined to pipes already, right?
No, he's totally about teaching me about where we need to put that French drain and how it works.
Is he?
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
I think that maybe you should look up a bona fide landscaper.
Yeah, I know. Sure. Yeah, I'll get right on that, man. That costs like a lot of money. Right now, I'm just trying to mitigate a thing and prevent ice damming, which has happened only once in my
Fortunately, it's going to be warm, so you won't have to deal with this again till the fall. So
right,
you've got 9 months to figure it out.
right. But you have to deal with it. So I'm not. The truth is, I also know that I can mitigate ice damming if that's the ultimate problem because my bags of salt worked.
Mm-hmm.
And there's that heat tape. So I don't know. This house has been here draining like this for 70 years. I don't really think it's a landscaping issue requiring this epic. You know what I mean? I just really don't because this house does not seem to have a flooding problem. The pitch away from the house does not seem to be. It's not like it floods. It just when it rains and pours over here, first what happened is that it was getting backed up. Then something like the clay. I've made it worse somehow by digging a trench because now I get this big puddle. So probably before it just flooded out over my rocks and sidewalk, and I didn't
Just
notice it or
created a big
something.
sheet of ice, maybe.
There was always ice a little bit back there, but that wasn't the problem area really. So the truth is, I am responding to ice damming in the gutters, which freaked me out and doesn't seem great. It has happened one time. It happened during weather patterns so strange that my neighbor Rafiki was standing outside looking at her icicles going, this has never happened before. So, I may be hyper responding to a problem that's not that big a deal. If I'm going to get some I mean, I might have to be a pioneer woman about it. It's like my house is not just going to magically drain all the time. But if we're getting some weather, I might be the kind of might have to be the kind of woman who goes and throws ice bags up on the roof, and shovels out the gutter or lays some heat tape. I don't think it's that big a deal. I don't think I need a $2,700 drywall. I just think we would know that about this property if that was a problem for generations.
Yeah.
Rafiki owned this house at a certain point, you know? She's not, I mean, she's like, yeah, we should, her solution is you should do a raised and extended gutter, like take it from the gutter out, 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 out. She has an example of this from her house, in fact, where it's like on an elevated track, like it goes over. The other obvious thing would be if I could just drain it, like do an elevated track and drain it right into my neighbor to the north yard. Well, I don't know him that well, and that seems rude, But I mean, it just feels like it's a matter of this angle thing. But then, and the only reason we can't do that is because there's this structure that they've built, the West Portico, which I very much love, right? One of Rafiki's solutions also, or suggestions, is why don't you just dam up that corner of the house? See if the gutters can handle it with draining in 3 places instead of 4.
Well, I think that would be problematic because then that gutter would always be full of water, at least up to the level of the pitch, right? It's always going to be
Seems
part,
like it.
right? Maybe you're right. Maybe what you could do is you could re-pitch your gutters instead of going from is still thinking about looking from the atelier. Instead of pitching it from right to left, you could pitch it from left to right, which would involve detaching and resetting the gutters and then putting the downspout on the right side of the house instead of the left side of the house.
What do you mean? There is one on the right side of the house.
Is there?
There are gutters on every corner of this house, and there are 4 corners.
Let's see. So are your gutters pitched from the middle? The high point is in the middle, and the left side goes left and the right side goes to the right?
Must be.
Huh.
Because yes, they're on literally every corner. And that's what I'm saying. The one you're saying now it's the south side of the house. The one on the south side of the house drains, comes straight down. It's in the sunshine, travels over a little concrete, gutter thing that you have there and drains into the ground like proper water, like a gentleman. I've never seen a pool there.
Drains into the ground like a gentleman.
Yeah, exactly. Like a civilized house should do. It drains into the ground.
House.
I mean, right there is rock, which underneath that rock, I guarantee is garden fabric, weed reducer, because that's the same rock that carries over to the other side of the house, really. So, and then there's like my yard. So why that just drains into the earth without me noticing, and this other side pools up is bizarre.
Mm-hmm.
So that's part of my problem. But like I said, right now, if I filled the trench that I have dug, if I filled it with dirt and sand that wasn't the clay dirt, it would appear that it is draining. If I filled it with gravel, it wouldn't look like a puddle. It would look like it drained. I mean, in essence, I might have mostly solved the problem. As long as it doesn't back up into that ice damming situation, we're fine. The gutter people, remember, told me, well, we could come out in the summer and see, but as long as there's not water pooling up in the gutter itself, it is functioning as a gutter, right?
Right.
I remember to get it out
these
of
are the
there.
people who said maybe you should go watch some videos.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of that.
It seems weird to me. I'm still thinking about it. I'm stuck on it. It seems weird to me that the high point of your gutter would be in the middle of the house.
I don't know how it works, Andrew. I don't know where the high point is. All I'm telling you is there, like a normal house, maybe it's not like a normal house. There are 4 gutters. There are 4 downspouts. There's a downspout. If you're looking at it from the backyard here, we have a gutter on the north side and we have a gutter on the south side. You walk to the front of the house, we've got a gutter on the north side and a downspout on the north side, a downspout on the south side. And in fact, in the front of the house, there's a 3rd downspout middle of the house because it's like where my porch juts out, kind of. So there are 5 downspouts on my house.
Yeah.
Maybe there needs to be a 6th one. That's what I think is like, how about we install an extra one on the other side of the West Portico, which is no longer in the shade, right? So maybe it will provide just more drainage. The gutter people are going, it's not a matter of drainage. It's not a matter of these gutters are overflowing on the reg. They drain fine. Once
Well,
in a while, you
it's
get
about
this ice
where they're
damming.
draining to, right?
I guess. I don't know. I'm so frustrated with it.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. And I'm sitting here. I'm pretending to be Hannibal Lecter. I'm thinking first principles, Clarice. We know that water goes from high points to low points, right?
Mhm.
So we got to figure out if we don't like the low point it's going to, we've got to adjust our highs and our lows so that it goes to the low
Done.
point we want it to.
Done. I have adjusted the low point. It now drains into a very deep trench that I have dug in the yard, and it stays there. So it's not backing up. It's draining out of the gutter area. I don't understand why it's sitting there in a puddle. Like I said, I think it's the clay soil. So that is where the French drain comes in. You fill it with gravel and stuff, and you dig even further down and you fill that with gravel, and then you essentially create drainage.
Sure.
Mhm. That problem is fixed. Um, yeah, and that's the thing. You should come and look at it in person, and then you should pick up a shovel and help me because my back hurts. My shoulders hurt from all the digging
I bet
and
that's a
the
lot of
moving
churning to
of
do.
dirt. Lot of moving of dirt.
That's
I
one of your
am
favorite tasks, though, because I remember at your old house, you were often laying pavers.
I think I did it once, Andrew. What are you talking about?
I don't know. That's more than I've done it.
I think one time when you were sitting back there, that must be what you're vaguely remembering. I was moving some flagstone. Yeah, I was sinking it in the grass while you sat there and watched. I do remember that. But I was not always moving pavers in that yard. I have been always moving pavers in this yard because I've been making, like, I made a little place for me to throw pottery last summer. I've been moving a lot of I made a little walkway in the garden. Oh my gosh, also this weekend I got my garden ready for spring, like cut away all of the dead stuff, raked it up, like raked and got rid of leaves and just like the springtime wake up stuff, like just leaves in corners of the garden beds and stuff like that. I don't remember what I was getting at when you made me talk about
You were
my
telling
gutter.
us about your plans for your new labyrinth.
Yeah, but then we had to talk about my stupid gutters.
Mm.
Um, Made me tired. I had so many things to talk about that were better. Yeah, I'm making a labyrinth. It's just I would like to kill the grass. I've already killed the grass on this part of my yard. When I moved in, the grass wasn't growing very well there. Perhaps because of the previous owner's dogs. I don't know, but it just seemed like it wasn't growing well there. Watering my backyard is a pain. Less of a pain now because I had a spigot put in back there. Anyway, and I just don't like. I think grass in Colorado is kind of dumb. So I thought about it a lot, and I think what I want to do back there is have a paved surface where I could have an umbrella, if for whatever reason, weather-wise, we need an umbrella, and then like a table because I don't have a proper table where you could really eat on anyway. So like that'd be a nice place to have a outdoor dining room set in the event that we want to sit outside and eat, which probably could happen quite a lot. So I also, while I'm paving it, I might as well just make it a labyrinth pattern because I like that.
That seems fun. And you can start your after your morning stretches. You can saunter out to the labyrinth, and you can take your half hour, and you can contemplate the world as you make your way through the labyrinth slowly and intentionally.
Yeah. Have you ever done one?
Never.
Yeah, that's it. And even it's pleasant looking, even if you don't believe that that's something, but I like it. There's one on Maui that I like to walk. I mean, yeah. So that's it. It's a very small one. Um, but I just think, why not? And it's so much cooler than laying a block of concrete
Sure.
or just putting in bricks or whatever. So again, I have this thought. I have it designed out. I have spent so much time designing it out. Not for a long time. I haven't touched the project for a while, but I previously spent a lot of time measuring, thinking, planning, doing the math, and then figure out like sort of affordable approaches to it. Because let me tell you, landscaping stuff is expensive. Holy cow. And in fact, at this point, I am also in the back of my mind, I'm doing that, right? I'm turning over this dirt by myself. I feel like I'm going to move it by myself. That's what you're saying. It sounds like a fun project. Maybe I should roll the balls of dirt. You were going to tell me about a different fun project that you saw. Well, I heard something recently about Whatever, like surprising street art like I do. So what if they were just like balls of dirt? Whatever. I'm not doing that. That's so time consuming and stupid. Anyway, I have this idea that I can do it myself, that I can remove the dirt by myself, and that if I use small enough pavers, whatever. Listen, it took a lot of doing, a lot of spatial relations. I should have had a CAD program to design the labyrinth that I intend to have. And anyway, so that's what I'm doing slowly but surely. Oh, I also have this idea that I'm going to find, like, that I'm going to go on Craigslist and, it's probably 'tis the season for like people putting out, you know, got some flagstone you can come grab. I got some old bricks you can come
Yeah,
grab. Come
free
grab
dirt.
it and it's yours. Free dirt. That's what I also thought. Do people want free dirt?
Well, the trick there, you're supposed to say dirt $10 because if you say free dirt, no one will take it.
Really?
That's what my grandfather says.
Hmm. I mean, that's a thought, is to put it on a tarp just in my back and make no bones about it. This is just a big pile of dirt. What? I think that dirt is trash.
Well, someone may have a big hole they need to fill in.
Fill up.
Maybe they've removed a children's play structure, or
Or a dry well.
their dry well is malfunctioning and they need to backfill it. I'm sure someone has a need for dirt somewhere.
Yeah, I suppose. Okay, well, maybe I will just put it in a pile. Oh my God. Okay. Anyway, all of that, I've been doing a lot of that. I've been doing a lot of, I don't have a job yet, so I've been doing a lot of waiting.
Have you heard anything back on the jobs you've applied to?
No, I mean, the one that we're talking about here that I cared about, I haven't heard anything, and I don't think that's a good thing. I think it's the thing like if I was going to be called in right away for the next interview, they would have called me. If I'm in the top 3 to 5, they're going to keep me hanging, just in case the first choice doesn't pan out. So I don't think it's good news, which is fine. I'll just keep plugging along. I was just looking at my resume and working on that. I wanted to talk about in my notes,
Mm-hmm.
well, a couple of things. We did talk about a joke at the beginning here. Last week I was talking about writing a joke and then taking too much away, like trimming out too much so that you break the chain. And all week I've been wishing I had thought of Jenga. It's like a Jenga game.
Sure, you don't want to take the most important piece out of your tower or it
Be
tumbles.
like the load bearing, right? Or the coin of the arch. So there you go. That's fascinating. Also, we talked about how the turtle, you said that's not very aloha when I feel like I need to be moving all the time. And I said, well, yeah, the turtle kind of is moving always. But then I realized it's really more like sharks. Sharks, right? Sharks keep
Sharks
going
have to move, I've heard.
or they die. That's what I've heard about sharks. I'm not a shark aficionado like some people are. I
But
mean, I
are
think
you
they're
a shark?
cool. That maybe I'm a shark.
You must be a shark.
If I have to die, I would like it to be by shark bite in the ocean.
Huh. That's an
It's always been
interesting
my
thought.
choice.
Really?
Sure.
For because of the bragging rights, or
No,
she
I'd be
died
dead.
doing what she loved. Why
Yeah.
would you like to go out via shark bite?
Definitely not a unique thought of mine. This is something that people discuss. Seems good to me. Yes, doing what I love. Do you hear that if if I'm getting bitten by a shark, I'm probably in the ocean, which is absolutely great. I think it would be quick and yeah, there you go. Done. That would be so much better than getting, well, I don't want to talk about it. Coronavirus or dementia. I mean, either one of them, there's a lot of ways it would suck to die. How would you prefer to die?
I don't know. I've thought about it and I've had different thoughts as I've aged. And I think currently the contender, the one I'd most like to see, is old age. Just, one day I don't wake up.
Yeah, okay. That I like. When you're saying old age, I'm like, oh my God, old age to me is starting to sound like all the things. But yeah, right. No, right. Yeah, peacefully in my sleep because I just expired one day. Yep.
Like
Yeah, well,
maybe even the day before I went for a walk. That would be ideal.
yep, just
Put that down, God.
fall over dead.
Sign me up. 70 years. I go for a walk and then I go home. I go to bed and I don't wake up.
At 70?
Schedule it. 70 years from now.
Okay, phew.
So it'd be 96.
That'll be good.
My grandmother, she's been doing this funny thing at holidays and get-togethers. we talk about old age and mortality, and she says 94 is the number in our family. She's holding on till
Oh, yeah, you
94.
said that.
So if I made it to 96, I would be 2 years late, but,
Yeah, you're it's less funny to me now because we just really thought we got my dad till his 90s, and he got sick really, really unexpectedly. Okay, not what I want to talk about. Now, I wrote also some feedback. The turtle can't sit still. Maybe I'm a shark, move or die. So I can't tell if that's good that I'm a shark or bad that I'm a shark, but there is that certain move or die element of me. Part of it is good. Like part of it, like I said, is that like I know that if I use my body digging dirt all day long for like 6 hours, I get to keep it, right? I mean, it makes me strong.
right.
I like it. Okay. Also, part of it is insane. What did I write here? Smoke signal. Okay. Last week we talked about Hemingway. I listened to when we were releasing our episode. We talked about the Hemingway app, and you talked about how when you write emails now, especially, you try to write in short, terse sentences.
Mhm.
And you talked about how like that's the way the world works now. All of this in the digital age, and we were getting really close to talking about, which is how we began the program today in a way, talking about the medium is the message, right? And like we're getting very close to talking about, do you remember reading Amusing Ourselves to Death when you were a senior in high school?
Vaguely, vaguely. I
It's
actually,
so important.
I have an update on my, my high school AP English thing. I just threw away my file box.
Oh, you did.
I did, and I justified it. I mean, the damn thing takes up a lot of space, but I justified it by, well, if I really wanna reference this stuff, I still have the files on my computer.
100%. Yep.
But that was kind of a liberating thing because, uh, you and Mrs. C, uh encourage not encouraged but required us to put together these massive folders that were, they took up a lot of space, and I've been carrying this thing around with me
Yeah.
from place to place to place for, I don't know, when I was a senior at 18 and 26, 8 years. 8 years this thing has followed me like a chain
That's
around my neck,
funny. Yeah, no, congratulations
and
for
I
getting
threw
rid
them
of
away.
that. That's good. I mean, as I told you, I just recently got rid of like my notebooks from middle school, which were in my parents' basement. And then yeah. So congratulations. That is liberating. I should hope that today, if they do anything similar, it will be in a more digital way. That's just a waste of paper. I mean, really, they probably do. I mean, I would have liked it at the time if you could have done more turning in your papers to us electronically, but that wasn't how we were
That was
rolling.
just around the corner because
Just around the
all my
corner.
papers in college were that way. Most of my papers in high school were not.
I know it 100%, but do you remember we made you use website, or we made you we really did. We were insistent upon putting our lesson plans online,
Mhm.
and it was janky at the time, but it was like we just insisted because then I could update it at any time, we could update it, et cetera, et cetera. And I do remember students writing back or coming back and saying, thank you for making us do that. Because right when you went to college, everything was online. And our system, like I said, was janky and often duct taped together. And it was me using WordPress or whatever. But we insisted on, like, this is where your lesson plans will be. I mean, this is where your homework assignments will be, whatever. I'm not handing it out in a piece of paper, and that was culture changing at the time. But anyway, okay, so AP English, congratulations, that's liberating. I should think there's a more digital way to keep track of things, but the exercise of what we were making you do, which I know you didn't take great care to do, is so great. I mean, the file box, the point was you now as a student of English language and literature, you have a portfolio, you have a collection of provable knowledge about 28 different novels. You should be able to take this stuff to college and kill it. And if you ever were in an English class, it was useful, but you certainly did not pursue that path.
Well, I took it to college, and I don't know what I was supposed to do with it. I don't know that it helped me in the dating department. I don't know that it helped me
Nope.
anywhere else. Hey, lady, come look at my file folders. Let me show you my file folders. That's not innuendo. I actually have 28 of them. But anyways, I distracted you. The medium is the message.
No, but that point is that those were not helpful for you in college. But if you had been studying literature in college like I did, very helpful to go. Like I actually did that in college. I got away with like not having to read books because I had read them so thoroughly in high school, you know? I didn't
Hmm.
have to reread something because my notes or my highlighting was so awesome from high school. It was more like that. And it doesn't matter. Yeah, whatever medium is the message. It's just like coronavirus.
Can you explain that? You've said it often, and I remember talking about it in class, and I still don't totally understand the medium is the message. Okay, so if we're sending tweets, if we're limited to 140 characters, you're telling me that this message is the literal message is brevity. Can you explain what it means to
Yeah.
you?
No, I'm going to explain to you what it means to Neil Postman, who wrote it. Neil Postman, who wrote Amusing Ourselves to Death in, I think, like 1982. His point is the medium is the message, meaning the depth of and the content of our communication is reliant upon, limited by, and defined by, I suppose, the medium itself. So the classic example, you can't argue philosophy over smoke signals, right? Smoke signals are a kind of communication that is meant to be brief, and it carries, I mean, the content will always be newsy and, for protection or for whatever, like that. So that medium, the message is defined, like it's limited by. And then he takes the book is still so relevant and people still teach it in high schools. It's hard. It's a really, really hard read. But the kids who paid attention would say to me, "This book changing my life." They saw it and knew it. You should read it again. It's really seriously interesting. So he goes through the history of like literacy in the Western civilization and certainly in this country, and talks about what a literate society we used to have here. I mean, think of even the Lincoln Douglas debates, for example, where
Mm-hmm.
people could sit in an audience without microphones for
And listen for
hours,
8 hours a day, and then they'd break and then
hours.
come back the next day.
Right, and go home and talk about it and the information matter. So this very long form. Now we have podcasts, right? We have podcasts. Um, so we've got long form, but yes, that I think the idea of Twitter, I mean, especially when it was like 140 characters. Is there a limit now on Twitter?
I know they upped it. I think from 140 to 180. I don't know if that's been increased further.
I don't either. I really don't go on Twitter, but the idea there is that, of course, is that in one, the medium is the message. One thing you could say is, well, that's going back to smoke signals because you are so limited. I also you could say, well, that makes it clever and quippy because you are so limited. And then ultimately, what I think we're saying there, and what I'm talking about is, and it does go back to pandemics and how news travels and things like that. This is part of it. The medium of constant, I mean, we'll just call it 24-hour news. It's beyond that, right? Constant churn from all over the world. Neil Postman makes the case, for example, that back in the day, if there was an earthquake in Tokyo, we would hear about it and we would maybe even send relief, but weeks later. If there was a tornado in Kansas City, we wouldn't hear about it in 2 seconds after it happened. It would take a minute, or we would, at the very least, even in your lifetime, we would watch the nightly news, right? And we would watch it at 5 o'clock at night and then at 11 o'clock at night, and that was it. The churn of information, I believe, has got to be contributing to why we're running out of toilet paper. And I think Neil Postman would make the case, but I'm not even sure, and he's dead now, so I can't ask him, um, that it's not healthy for us to know about all of the news all of the time. I mean, I've thought this for a long time. Like, there is kind of compassion overload in the world because you you can't can't hold all the pain all the time. You know what I mean? You have to compartmentalize. If you had the human natural response to a picture on a screen of a child sick or starving, your heart would bleed. You would reach out to that person. You would want to hug and hold that person. The natural response. I think just a million times a day we have to compartmentalize or deny our human emotion to the point that we get jaded, and I don't know. And also somehow it makes us vulnerable to fear, right? It's interesting.
It is interesting. It is interesting, and we all have different methods of coping with information overload. right? I
Mhm,
mean,
mhm.
for you in the last year, since you left your job, your method of coping has been avoiding the news almost entirely, or as much as
Pretty
you can,
much.
right?
Mhm.
And I do something similar. I see some news, but I generally choose. I mean, in your cold open, you say I engage with the things I want to, and that's true of news. Most of the news that I get and follow is tech news and financial news.
Mhm.
Um, I don't know. I mean, we know it's not healthy, and we know that everyone needs some way to deal with it. But it's caused a we've developed new skills because of it, right? I mean,
Yep.
we're constantly growing and adapting, and you can't say that it's good or bad. I don't think.
I think that's right. I mean, I think that's right, that there's no reason to decry, the whole there was the question, the article, probably while you were in high school, is Google making us stupid?
Hmm.
It is changing our brains, it's changing our approach. Young people read different, so you're right. I don't want to decry this as, "Oh, it's the end of civilization." But there is this medium is the message, concept that, like, I mean, Neil Postman talked about the conflation of politics, which used to be, like we said, Lincoln Douglas debates in this country, like, treated with the most careful rhetoric, right? The most the conflation of politics and entertainment, and this is years old, this is decades old now, in this country. The conflation of religion and entertainment. I mean, it's very kind of Brave New World.
Right. Right, and this was
He
all
talks
going
about
on
Brave New World.
with President Reagan. We're looking at a
Mhm,
situation where an actor
mhm,
is the president, and it's doubly true right now
mhm,
when our president is not so much an actor as he is a
mhm.
reality TV host, which is like two or three grades lower than actor. You know,
I just would when Donald Trump got elected, I used to say, "This is Neil Postman's his prescience coming true." Like, this is the ultimate conclusion of the conflation of media, entertainment, and politics in this country. Mhm, mhm, mhm. So anyway, that just that brought up to me, or it occurred to me last week after we were talking about being approaching writing in a more terse way, in a more Hemingway way, in the age of emails where you want your words to count, and how to master your rhetoric is awesome. I mean, and that's the other thing, is to be aware of what the world is doing right now, and what lands, and how to craft. Come on, I love it. I love it. I mean, even okay, I'm applying for jobs. I There is even more of a bullet pointy kind of trend, I think, in cover letters than there used to be,
absolutely.
right?
I think resumes now are at least the ones I see, the ones that when you Google for resumes, they're much more visual. There's a lot
Yep.
of graphics and there's a lot of shapes, and my resume is Times New Roman, and it's bullet points and that sort of thing. And the modern resume I think is not that.
Well, I did it, I succumbed to it because I can, and I did. I made my resume has a little graphic element to it. It's not I make it I think it's not too over the top. I don't think it's cutesy, but yep, I put a little boxes in there, especially knowing most likely this is going to be seen online, right? So I keep that in mind. Although at an in-person interview, I noticed they had printed it out like you do, and I also send a little graphic, yeah, a little summary of, my best skills. Anyway, yeah, that's it. To be aware of the trends in current communication between people. That's how we make arguments, win arguments. I mean, I love everything about it. And the funny thing is that in this world of Twitter and BuzzFeed and listicles, honestly, podcasts are very long form, often very not careful. That's interesting. But I mean, I listen to even podcasts that are fairly well researched and things. But how often do we hear, it's a trope and amongst podcasters, how often do we hear them making fun of themselves almost, a little, or like, oh, we didn't research that. Okay, correction corner. It's pretty casual and it's pretty long form. I don't know. It's interesting that there's that access and that there's a thirst for that out there, in addition to the quick, 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 tweet, 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 tweet culture.
It is interesting that there's a thirst for this. I like to think of a podcast as a broadcast radio show. It's exciting to me when I think about podcasts that anyone and everyone can have their own broadcast radio show.
I know it. It is cool. I mean, and back in the day you couldn't. No, I know the access to that, and it really does to me also feel similar to voiceover and things like that that I can do now. Oh, get this. I have a job coming up. Oh, this is funny. People reached out to me and had to vet this. Like, is this for real? It's for real. I'm doing a 2-hour video shoot for a company. I'm sure at some point I'll be able to announce who. But anyway, it's a kind of up and coming company. And they're doing a series of like 30-second spots, probably on YouTube and their website. And they wanted to see if I wanted to talk about it. And they're paying me the rate that I wanted. And they have hair and makeup and they have wardrobe people. And we're going to, they're scouting locations and they'll let me know. It feels like a real booked actor job.
Is this related to you wearing that wig the other day?
Nope. That was just for a dumb friends thing. That was just a random thing. The only reason people knew about it is because I posted a picture of me being brunette for a minute, and that's funny. No, this is a real acting job. And I haven't even put myself out there as a video actor, like going on video auditions since 1999, I only do voiceover. So this guy reaches out and then I clarified, I'm like, is this on camera? And he's like, yeah. Do you only do voiceover? I was like, oh no, I'm an actor. We're cool. So then I have this conversation with him. I mean, we make a verbal agreement right then and there. We'll see, right? I'm not talking about it till I get paid, but so far it seems good. And I said, how'd you find me? And he goes, Google search.
Wow, people are talking, Filholm. Things are going on.
No, that bums me out. I am paying to be like on Gig Salad and right?
Gig
like
Salad.
all of the places. Yes, that's a real thing. And people are looking for announcers. I know, it's terrible. But people are looking for announcers or MCs or stand-up comics or magicians or you know what I mean? Really, it's like they go there. And I know it sounds kind of pornographic, really. And this guy Google searched, best comedians in Boulder and Denver, he said, and got to me. And obviously they're looking for it is a very funny, anyway, crazy that came out of the blue.
Well, I think that's way better.
Dream job. I know.
In my world, companies, there's a clear delineation between organic search and paid search, and everyone wants organic search. You want to rank well without having to pay for it. And that's what you did. You should be quite pleased, especially if those are the search terms he's using.
I know. I mean, it's great, but I was just baffled by it. And then I also asked him just to be sure. I said, "Have you seen any dirty jokes that I've told on there?" He goes, "No, oh no, I only saw clean work." And I went, "Fantastic," because I have taken it offline for now. Like I said, because I'm applying for big girls jobs. I mean, not that whatever. It's just not the brand I want out there first step. It doesn't mean I'm going to not tell those jokes, right? But that's just maybe not what I want people to find. And he didn't. But then that even baffled me further because he heard me do anyway, it doesn't matter. It's kind of a dream job. Again, I'll believe it when I see it, as it goes with all these things, but it feels very legit. And he said, it's the dream words that these words are so good that okay. He said,
how can I pay you?
No. He said, we are hiring a comic, not just an actor, because we trust that you're going to help us make it funny. Like, tell us, like have input even on the best angle or the best this or that. He goes, we're just the guys with the camera. You're the talent. I mean, to the point that I said to him, yes, but I'm also very directable. And ultimately, you guys are the decision makers. You know what I mean? And like, it doesn't hurt my ego. If I'm not saying a line right, give me a line reading. It was so what you want to be told, but not I don't think he was selling me way. It was just like, okay, great, thanks. That's what we're looking for. This will be great. Thank God we got somebody. And he even said there was a little bit of a time. I think he mentioned like, I thought they were getting the talent and I was okay, hey, great. We're glad we found you. But honestly, like that's such a crazy good thing to be told. Like, no, you're in charge. That it feels like a trap.
Well, I hope it goes well, and I'm excited for you. That's nice that you're out in the world and people are finding you.
Well, Andrew,
you got to be seen to be seen or something.
Yeah, but that's fine. But it's all well and good. But again, that job, well, it's not gonna. I need a real job.
Well, one thing leads to another. You know how things snowball.
I don't anymore. I'm worried about it. I'm worried about it. I'm worried that I'm old. Now that you mentioned it, I'm like, yeah, when was the last time I Googled what my resume should look like? I should go do that again. There was something. I did have a friend look at my resume. I should have you look at my resume. I had her look at my resume. She works in HR. We had a discrepancy between how she was able to give actual comments on this particular document. So I couldn't read her all of her comments, but there was something in my resume that she said was an indicator of how old I am. And she's like, you need to take that away. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if I need to
It's
not put the
when
years
you
I
graduated
graduated
college.
college. Is that it? Can you just take that away? I mean, is that fine?
I don't personally. I don't see this this age thing being a. You swear up and down, and people do all the time. They talk about age discrimination. I haven't seen it. I would much
Fuck
prefer
you. I
someone.
mean, fuck you, really, Andrew, because she's in HR. I know I have experienced it. I, I mean, you haven't experienced because you're young. Yeah,
Yeah, but
dude.
this lady who you're talking about, she's the same age as you. Don't you think she's more inclined to give a job to someone her own age?
No,
Why not?
no.
Why does she
For a
think younger
million
better?
reasons. For a million reasons, people think younger's better. I think they think, I mean, maybe that's, listen, that is,
I can see young people thinking young is better.
no, no, opposite. Okay, first of all, this is not the reason that I'm not getting jobs. I'm not going on that. I'm just saying that she's just sort of advising don't lead with that. I mean, if I don't get jobs, it's because I suck or whatever. I'm not the right person. It's not because I'm old. I don't feel like I've been completely treated that way. But no, why do people want young people? I have seen this in offices, and I've actually gotten feedback where I didn't get jobs. They think that young people are more tech savvy. They think young people can understand tech and teach them about tech. They don't believe me that I can come in and teach. I mean, honestly, people my age, I have heard them go, "Can you tell me how Google Analytics work?" You know what I mean? They're thinking that these young people are gonna come in and be able to solve certain problems and introduce them to certain things that they don't have access to because 'cause they're old. I think they think young people will take direction better. We can train them, right? I mean, I don't know how many people want a bossy middle-aged lady to join the team because, I mean, a lot of people do and a lot of people should. And obviously, middle-aged women who have run even like classrooms or PTSAs are great employers, right? I mean, we are the dilettantes you want, and plenty of people know that and hire us. But I think for real in the communications field, um, I think I play too old partly because of tech, like I said. Um, Partly because I think a lot of people wanna bring you in and train you and believe that, like, you are pliable more than an old person is.
I think that's a terrible way to hire because I don't want to hire someone to train so much as I want to hire someone so that they can do the thing they're already good at.
Totally right, and yeah, totally right, and that's the thing, maybe I'm the kind of work that you do also, by the way, is more discreet like that, right? You can hire someone for a task or to do something. So the kinds of job that I'm applying for are usually sort of softer skills, right? And but I agree. I mean, I agree. I was baffled at the university. I applied for job after job after job and kept getting told I was overqualified. And I kept going, "Could you just let me please decide that?" You know, like, "I'm telling you I want this job." And, I mean, I was baffled by it because it's like, I promise you I am tech savvy enough for you and I can learn, and also I know how to diagram sentences, and I know that the 26-year-old people you keep hiring, well, some of them are awesome. You know what? Some of them can diagram sentences, and maybe I would pick I believe that it's a thing in certain areas, and maybe it won't affect me now in the job search, but I don't think you can deny it, Andrew. I mean, it's like you're going, I think that's a terrible way to hire. I agree, and most people would agree, but I think we have evidence that that is the way some people hire.
The only reason I can see choosing a young person over an old person strictly because of their age is because you can probably pay them less, right?
Totally that, right? You can pay them less and you can assume that you will get yeah, maybe more time from them or not, depending. Yep, absolutely. That you think you can pay them less, they'll be less demanding. Even when I was a new teacher and I was not a young new teacher, I remember being aware that like your first year of teaching, schools tend to like you because you're not a troublemaker yet. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're just surviving, getting through, and they kind of know that. And it's rare that first year teachers or teachers first year to a school, it happens, but it is rare that they come in, marching up to the principal's office with demands. They're kind of getting the lay of the land. And I always sort of had the feeling that was a positive thing, and really, I do look like a woman who might speak to the manager. They might want someone who doesn't want to speak, depending on the job. Depends on the job. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll
Mrs.
see.
Philholm, we got to wrap
Yeah,
this up soon. We've been
I
talking
know.
for a long time.
Yeah, we're gonna cut a lot of it because it was dumb and it was about my gutters. But see, that's how you are in the world. You think that's a dumb way for people to hire, but they do. That's a dumb way for your gutter to be placed, but it is. That's a dumb way for people to respond to the coronavirus, but they do.
I
Andrew,
suppose I'm an idealist.
I guess that's it. Or I was just worrying, like, do you need to get out into the real world more because you're sitting in your ivory tower thinking about how things should be?
Right. Well, I have to say that in my job, in the
Yeah.
companies I work for, I tend to be the lone developer,
Yeah.
and I get to do things exactly as
I know.
exactly as I think they should be done.
I
Um,
know.
so I suppose I sit in a very privileged position.
You do, and you sit here, I think it's rubbing off. I think you now see the world the way it worked. Like, you're frustrating me telling me how it's gonna be with my gutter when you're not even over here looking at it or willing to help with it. Like, Andrew, I'm telling you, people who know more than you know have told me about that gutter and what is and isn't possible. And Mr. Um, I'm just gonna sit here and make it right from the comfort of my own home.
I'm an
I don't
armchair
know.
gutter hanger.
Armchair gutter hanger, I don't like it. I was gonna say maybe you do need to get out into the world more and get knocked down a peg or two, but don't because of coronavirus. Don't go out. Don't go. I don't know what to do about that. Okay, nice talking to you.
Nice talking to you, Mrs. Philholm.
Bye,
Goodbye.
Andrew. Bye.